Washington is locking down for a historic 4th of July celebration, why security is tighter than ever, and what officials are telling the hundreds of thousands expected to attend. And barbecues are a summer staple, but they're going to cost a bit more this year. What you need to know before you walk into the store, and a few tips on how to save. Taking a live look this afternoon out in Philadelphia at the Liberty Bell ahead of the America 250 celebration. Crowded there today, as you would expect, as really today's a federal holiday too. The 4th of July celebrations are getting started. Thank you for joining us for your 5 News at noon. I'm Morgan Wrigley here with meteorologist Danny Cassidy, who's been getting the celebrations started all morning. I heard that we had some burgers going on the grill, I think before 9 a.m.
Yeah, I was going to say we had the burgers loaded up at around 7 a.m. this morning. Burgers, some hot dogs. Tasted fairly good. We did what we could with the heat and humidity, and of course it's only going to get hotter from this afternoon. So maybe if you're a little bit more adventurous, do it at 8 a.m. before it gets really steamy out there.
That might be your only option.
I know, like it is right now, because that heat, I mean, pretty typical, nothing we haven't seen before. But in northwest Arkansas, temps in the mid 80s, in the River Valley, upper 80s and low 90s, and seeing just on schedule those puffy cumulus clouds that develop during these summertime days, and again could lead to a few of those spotty pop-ups. Right now we're quiet. I think we could see some later this afternoon. Those dew points, yes, still a little toasty in the low to mid 70s. So you factor in that temperature and that dew point and that heat index, a little handful of triple digits there in the River Valley, low to mid 90s in northwest Arkansas. So again, it's going to be another hot and humid afternoon. And what we're seeing this afternoon is going to be very similar to what we see for tomorrow and a little bit of Sunday as well. So I think it can feel up to 100, maybe as high as 102 in northwest Arkansas, and still about 92 just a little before sunset. For the River Valley, peaking as high as I think 105 to 106, maybe 107. It's still feeling like 99 by 7 o'clock. So with these puffy cumulus clouds, again, could see a few spotty storms. But overall for the 4th, not looking too bad, just watching for those storm chances to kind of dodge them here and there. We'll go over that storm timeline as well as the latest on the heat and humidity coming up in your full forecast. Morgan.
Thank you, Danny. America's birthday celebrations are getting underway as the U.S. turns 250 years old tomorrow. One of the largest 250 events is scheduled for Washington, D.C., with more than 150,000 people expected in the Capitol. That means security will be tighter than ever, and it all happens as D.C. is expected to be hotter than 99% of the Earth on the 4th of July. Natalie Brand has more details.
The barricades are up, security stations are manned, and thousands of National Guard soldiers and police officers are on patrol in the nation's capital ahead of the 4th of July. For the first time, the celebrations have been designated a national security special event, a status normally reserved for events such as inaugurations or the Super Bowl.
I will tell you that you've had hundreds, if not thousands, of law enforcement professionals planning this event for several months.
The increased security comes amid heightened global tensions following the conflict with Iran and recent acts of violence directed at the White House. But officials say the extra measures are more precautionary.
I'm not tracking anything in terms of a threat environment. We're all hoping that Americans are able to celebrate, whether they're in D.C. or around the country. I mean, this is a wonderful, wonderful holiday. It's not just any 4th of July. This is a big one.
Officials are also shutting down large parts of the Potomac, in part for security reasons, but also because more barges are needed to launch the planned 850,000 fireworks.
This is going to be the biggest firework event in history.
The program is also expected to feature 7 hours of aircraft flyovers. Officials say 150,000 people could be on the National Mall, but the record-breaking heat wave could impact turnout.
It's going to be approximately 107 degrees out, and I'm going to go and I'm going to make a really long speech just to show that I can do anything.
Organizers are urging visitors to drink plenty of water, stay in the shade, and paramedics are standing by to help those overcome by the heat. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Well, communities around our area are getting ready for their own celebrations. Here's a look at a few events happening today. Springdale will hold a concert and a fireworks show at Luther George Park featuring 90s band Dial Up from 6 to 10. Ozark will host a fireworks show at Westside Park. The festivities for that one start at 6 tonight. And fireworks will light up the sky in Paris with an event at Wood Street Park, also starting at 6. We know it's not the 4th of July without red, white, and blue clothing, hot dogs, and of course the fireworks. We have some advice from local firefighters on how to dispose of them when you're done shooting them off. Springdale Captain Justin Pinkley says he's dealt with many calls the next day because of improper disposals. He says you should never throw fireworks out right away. Instead, you should soak them overnight in a bucket of water and then you can throw them out the next morning. Pinkley says you should also be very cautious when you're shooting off fireworks.
Just have a plan in place. Have that fire extinguisher ready. Have a water hose, a charged water hose that's ready to be used if necessary. But it's having that plan in place.
No kids under 16 should be shooting off fireworks, and teens should, of course, be with an adult during any firework activities. Barbecues are also a 4th of July tradition, but heating up faster than the grill are the prices. With hamburgers up 14% from this time last year, hot dogs up 5%, even the veggie tray prices have grown. Economists say when it comes to protein, chicken is a cheaper option than beef. And with egg prices down 14% from last July, side dishes like potato salad or deviled eggs could also help stretch the budget.
Is that something you're conscious about?
Oh, absolutely, yes. We have been trying, we do a lot of meal planning.
Another way to save, you could make it a potluck. Wells Fargo puts the average 10-person barbecue at $161. That's up from $130 last summer. Well, Winco Fireworks is recalling 2 firework products just a day before the 4th. This affects the Roman Candles 8-shot 3-pack fireworks and also the Unity 7-shot 200-gram aerial cake firework devices. They say there's a risk of injury from explosion and burn hazards with these. People can visit the company's website for more information on those recalls. We're hearing reaction today after a federal judge said a new Arkansas law that regulates the petition process is unconstitutional. Secretary of State Cole Jester says his office is appealing. Today marks the state's deadline for ballot initiatives. If organizers have collected enough signatures, they can get a potential constitutional amendment on the November ballot. But some lawmakers say they don't think the process is secure.
You have nearly 1,000 people that called Secretary of State's office wanting to have their names removed off a petition. You've got people coming from out of state that are declaring that their residency is at a motel when in reality they live in other parts of the country.
However, one citizen-led petition group says the judge's ruling removed a lot of problems with collecting signatures.
I have to check your ID, your driver's license. So you have to pull out your driver's license to confirm that you live in Arkansas. I then have to read the ballot title to you out loud. Those ballot titles can be hundreds of words long, right?
The judge is scheduled to hear more First Amendment claims on July 28th at the federal courthouse in Fayetteville. Well, a new fiscal year has started for the Arkansas state government, and Arkansas is starting with one of the largest budget surpluses in state history. The Department of Finance says this is mainly because of a 7% increase in income tax revenue and a 4% increase in sales tax revenue. $665 million will now go into the state's reserve funds, which the Department of Finance says is as strong as it's ever been.
It'd just be the peace of mind of knowing that, those key state services that are funded with general revenue, we've got $3 billion in reserve just strictly to ensure that those continue. So the peace of mind from that would be one thing.
The surplus is the 5th largest in state history. The Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics is now investigating a LaFleur County farm after seizing 1,800 pounds of illegal marijuana. They say this happened yesterday at Alanis Farm located in Shady Point. It was part of an ongoing criminal investigation into illegal growing and operating without registration. No arrests have been made, but OBN says it anticipates some to be made as the investigation moves forward. Well, the Fayetteville School Board is now considering whether to help pay for the city's proposed aquatic recreation center. City leaders are asking the district to cover a portion of the project's cost. The proposed aquatic center was narrowly approved by voters through a bond issue in March. It has a price tag of nearly $62 million. The city says it's hoping the school district will contribute $15 million.
I would like, before they do anything else, for the school to decide whether they want to have a pool before they consider the different proposals from the city, because otherwise it looks like the city pressuring the school district into partnering in this to get what the city wants. I don't actually think that's what the city is doing, but apart from not knowing, entirely separately whether the school wants a pool, we don't really know.
The school board talked about it at its last meeting, but has not made a decision yet on the proposal.